Okay, we're good.
Good.
I'm gonna mute.
All right. I vote we start. Let's do that. Oh, excuse me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Commission of the City of Danbury, May 28, 2024. At 7 p.m. Let the record show we will begin at 7:07 with our roll call. Commissioner Bennett is absent. Commissioner Botello,
Here.
Commissioner Cabrera,
Here.
Commissioner James,
Here.
Commissioner Jowdy is absent. Commissioner Nazario,
Present.
Commissioner Nejane,
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill. As she works her microphone to say here, there she is.
Here, sorry. I thought I could hit the space bar and it didn't work.
That's
Usually
all
you
right.
can.
Commissioner Harrison,
Here.
Commissioner Simone, absent. Commissioner Villacrest, absent. I am Chairman Haddad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got to move this one here. Let me move you up. Now I got 8. Commissioner Harrison, I'm going to seat you for the entire evening for Commissioner Jowdy.
No problem.
Thank you. The next regular meeting is scheduled for June 11th, 2024, and that's a start of 7 o'clock. If we can all stand, if you have flags, raise them. We're going to do a Pledge of Allegiance, joined by, led by Commissioner Botello.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the flag.
The United States of
United States
America.
of America.
And to the
The
republic.
republic.
For which it
For which it
stands.
stands.
One nation.
One nation.
Under God.
Under God.
Indivisible.
Indivisible.
With
With
liberty.
liberty
And
justice
justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Botello. Everyone should have received a copy of the May 14th minutes, 2024 minutes. It's made a public record, part of the agenda package. Can I see a hand?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Commissioner Botello makes a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Additions, deletions, modifications, substitutions, corrections, nothing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Everyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Not hearing any or seeing any? Minutes pass unanimously. Let me read the instructions tonight. This meeting of the Danbury Zoning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You could participate via Zoom and see the audio and the video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Please be aware that we may have to mute your microphone or telephone to avoid an echo or some other background noise. This is also being streamed live via YouTube. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all of the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. As always, if you have any questions, please contact the City of Danbury Planning and Zoning Department. As a reminder, the entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website. We will follow the posted agenda as per standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on agenda items were submitted via email to Jennifer Eminger, these comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Finally, please remember that technology glitches sometimes do occur. Please be patient if that happens. I'm going to read the legal notice for tonight. The legal notice is hereby given at the Zoning Commission. The City of Danbury will hold a public hearing commencing at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 28th, in a web-based meeting hosted on Zoom to consider the following matter. Petition of Attorney Charles Lichtenauer to amend Section 8C4C in parentheses 11B and add Section 8C4C in parentheses 11C to the zoning regulations. amend off-street parking table to separate required parking calculation for inpatient, outpatient, physical medical facilities. A copy of this application is on file in the Planning and Zoning Office for public inspection. Parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard at this time. Agenda to be posted will include instructions on how to access the Zoom meeting and application materials and view the meeting in real time on YouTube. Theodore J. Haddad, Jr., Chairman. Posted on the city website and town clerk's office, May 15, 2024. Published in the News Times on May 17, 2024. And on May 24, 2024. Purchase order 2024-8. Additionally, the agenda was filed in the town clerk's office on May 23rd, 2024 at 1:38 p.m. Check, and check. We have a public hearing this evening. The first public hearing is of Attorney Charles O. Lichtenauer to amend Section 8C4C 11B and add Section 8C4C 11C to the zoning regulations. Amend off-street parking table to separate required parking calculation for inpatient, outpatient, physical, medical facilities. So let me read the Planning Commission recommendation dated May 21st, 2024 to Theodore J. Haddad, Jr., Chairman, Danbury Zoning Commission, from Robert Chiocchio, Vice Chairman, Danbury Planning Commission, regarding the 838 referral petition of Charles O. Lichtenauer, as read in earlier. At the web-based Zoom meeting held on April 3rd, 2024, the City of Danbury Planning Commission voted to give the above referenced petition a positive recommendation for the following reasons. Number one, this proposal complies with the land use and environmental resources goal of the POCD, which recommends adopting and implementing low-impact policies and practices through changes to the zoning regulations to encourage low-impact development. Number two, additionally, since the existing parking requirement does not account for an inpatient facility, the proposed change would result in a more accurate parking requirement based on the demand generated by such a facility and is greater than the industry average for similar uses. The motion to give this a negative recommendation was made by Mrs. Hofstadter, seconded by Mr. Sylvain, and passed unanimously by voice vote with 3 A's from Mrs. Hofstadter, Mrs. Sylvain, and Vice Chairman Chiocchio.
Wait
this
a minute, did I
correct?
screw that up? Did I
Is this
screw that
correct?
up?
Yeah, this is supposed to be positive.
It's supposed to be positive. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll fix it tomorrow when I
We'll
get in the
change that
office.
to
But
positive.
it's supposed to be positive. I mean, that's what they did.
Yes, I watched it.
Mhm.
Okay, everybody got that straight, positive from planning.
Sorry.
That's all right, cutting and pasting sometimes.
Yeah.
It's your friend and it's your enemy.
Mine says positive.
Yours is positive. Who said that?
Jen,
How did yours say positive? Mine says negative.
maybe I'm reading a different one, but it's the May 21st, 2024 letter to you from
Yeah,
Planning
I-
Commission, and it's positive and it's underlined it.
wow, I got mine. It's oh no, the top line. Read the last paragraph.
Oh,
if
the
you
last
look at-
paragraph.
If you
Bottom
look
paragraph
down.
is negative.
Okay,
it says
okay.
negative,
Okay,
yeah.
we all know I'm stupid. Come on.
Ah, that's not what it's about. Stop.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought
I
you were
know.
right.
It's okay. I'm sorry.
All
I'll
right.
fix it. Yeah.
So let's do the 8-3B Westcog recommendation to Joanne Reed, Planning Assistant, from Kristen Floberg, Senior Planner. Connecticut statutory referral to Westcog from Danbury attached zoning amendment dated May 24, 2024. The opinion of Westcog staff is that the proposals of local interest and with minimal intermunicipal impact, therefore it is not being forwarded to adjacent municipalities, and the regional staff is making no comment. If I can call on Ms. Eminger to summarize her staff report that was dated May 9th, that everyone has a copy of, that is also public record. Ms. Eminger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Jennifer Eminger, Acting Planning Director. As Chairman Haddad identified, you have my staff report dated May 9th. We've received a petition from Attorney Charles Lichtenauer on behalf of Encompass Health to amend sections 8C4 little c 11B and 8C4 little c 11C of the zoning regs to modify an existing parking requirement for physical medicine facility. The petition proposes to separate the parking calculation into a B and C. B is I want to say medical, and it's not. Physical medicine facility, comma, inpatient, and 11C is physical medicine facility, comma, outpatient. The proposed calculation for an inpatient facility retains the 1 parking space per employee requirement and proposes to change the requirement for clients from 1 space per client to 1 space per 2 clients. The outpatient calculation is 1 space per employee on the largest shift plus one space per client at peak capacity, which mirrors the existing parking requirement for physical medicine facility. The reason for the petition is noted in the staff report. The history with regards to this use is also identified. Actions made by the zoning commission over the past several years. Again, it was to identify the use itself as inpatient physical medicine facility. The parking requirements were not updated to reflect those 2 uses. So the petitioner is requesting to do that. We've analyzed the supporting documentation that the petitioner submitted. Staff is in agreement with these averages and the documentation. We think it's certainly a conservative approach. And it's well above the ITE average. As the Planning Commission noted in their referral, it's consistent. It complies with the Plan of Conservation and Development, as it encourages low impact development. Encouraging such a requirement requires less parking, which is certainly low impact, and it's consistent with the Connecticut Stormwater Quality Manual. In conclusion, as the existing parking requirement does not account for an inpatient facility, the proposed change would result in a more accurate parking requirement based on the demand generated by such a facility. And as I noted, greater than the industry average for similar uses. As such, staff has no objection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission members, any questions of Ms. Eminger? Commission members? Thank you. I
Thank
will
you.
now look for those wishing to speak in favor of this petition. I see Attorney Lichtenauer. Attorney Lichtenauer, rather than me read your letter into the record, I'm just going to let you summarize it and you could bring it in on your own.
That would be great, Mr. Chairman. I have a PowerPoint presentation, if you'd be so kind as to let me share this with the commission.
You're all set.
Absolutely, you're all set.
Okay. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Great. So once again, good evening. My name is Charles Lichtenauer. I'm an attorney with Chipman Mizuko Emerson, located at 44 Old Ridgeberry Road in Danbury. Here with me tonight from Encompass Health Corporation is Jason Owens. He and I will hopefully be able to answer any questions you may have about the facility. So a brief history, I know Jen touched on this, but a brief history of the Encompass Health Project to refresh the commission. In October 2020, the Zoning Commission approved modifications to the zoning regulations to amend the definition of physical medicine facility and to define physical medicine facility, inpatient, and add physical medicine facility inpatient to the list of permitted non-residential uses in the PND. And then in May 2021, the Zoning Commission approved a petition to amend the master plan for the reserve to change Phase 9B from 100,000 square feet of commercial office space to 100,000 square feet of space for an inpatient physical medicine facility. In November 2021, the Planning and Zoning Department granted site plan approval to Encompass Health to construct a 100,000 square foot inpatient physical medicine facility. So moving on to the regulation change, I should start by pointing out that without this proposed regulation change, Encompass would probably have far too many parking spaces. EHC's, and that's Encompass Health Corporation's, phase 1 of construction contemplates 40 beds, which with current staffing levels yields a parking requirement of around 120 spaces per the regulations as written. 129 spaces are proposed to be constructed in the first phase of construction. Phase 2 of construction contemplates additional beds, up to 80 total, which would yield a parking requirement of around 200 spaces per the regulations as they are written. EHC's studies and the Institute for Transportation Engineers manual provide that fewer spaces are sufficient for an 80-bed inpatient facility, such as the one in the reserve. EHC would like to avoid a field of empty asphalt when the property could otherwise be left undisturbed. And here is the text of the proposed regulation change. As you can see, it splits the parking requirement for physical medicine facilities into two categories, inpatient and outpatient. Outpatient facilities would keep the requirements as originally imposed by the zoning regulations, which is 1 space per employee and 1 space per client. And both of those measures are based on the maximum number of clients, maximum number of employees per shift. Inpatient facilities, as you can see, would require 1 space per employee and 1 space per 2 clients, or half a space per client. The parking requirements, just as in the original parking requirement, are inclusive of handicapped parking, and as I said, as required by the original regulation. Some reasoning behind this proposal. There's currently no difference in the parking required as between inpatient and outpatient physical medicine facilities. As I mentioned, 1 space per employee on the largest shift, plus 1 space per client at peak capacity is currently required for both types of facilities. And we know that inpatient facilities require less parking. And that might be intuitive, but it's mainly because most patients are unable to drive to the facility. And patient-related parking would be for intermittent visitors, so family, friends coming to see someone who is undergoing physical medicine rehabilitation on site. And reducing the patient-related parking requirement accommodates more staff. And at facilities such as these, more staff is always a good thing. So we have 2 sources of our supporting documentation for this regulation change. The first is actually an internal study conducted by Encompass Health. And they conducted a study using metrics from 4 facilities, which at the time of the study ranged from 63 patients to 96 patients. Encompass measured the cars parked on site at each location and then converted the counts to an 80 patient equivalent to yield an average need for the peak hour at each facility. And Encompass found that at peak demand, 2 spaces per client meets demand at facilities that are 80 beds or more. But Danbury's parking regulations for physical medicine facilities are based on a combination of employee count and client count. So we gathered more data in support of this petition to make it mesh more with the regulations as they're currently written. On this slide, we have the average peak parking demand for nursing homes. And that is the closest related use that the Institute for Transportation Engineers provides. It's most similar because most patients are immobile. The ITE uses 3 independent metrics to arrive at the appropriate parking count. 1 is spaces per bed, 2 is spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area, and third is spaces per employee. As I said, these metrics, they're independent. So that means, for example, the parking requirement based on bed count encompasses the needs of all visitors to the site, including employees, clients, and visitors. The ITE found that 0.4 to 0.43 spaces per bed are required at peak hours, with a maximum, of 80 beds proposed. 32 spaces are needed at Encompass Health Danbury per the ITE. They found that 0.67 spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area are required at peak hours. With our 100,000 square feet facility, ITE would require 67 spaces. Finally, ITE found that 0.4 spaces are required per employee at peak hours. So with up to 120 employees, which is what Encompass is predicting, 48 spaces are needed per the ITE. For the proposed text amendment, which calls for 1 space per employee plus half a space per client, we are in excess of the requirements suggested by ITE. Whereas ITE calls for 0.4 spaces per employee, we will have 1 full space. And while ITE calls for 0.4 to 0.43 spaces per bed, we will have 1/2 of 1 space per bed. So just a brief summary of the industry standards. The regulation amendment, as proposed, providing 1 space per employee at peak shift, plus 1 space per 2 clients at peak capacity, exceeds the parking demand for this use. And finally, I do know that Jen previously summarized the conclusion of her report, and we thank her and her staff for the detailed report. But just to summarize, the proposal would result in a more accurate parking requirement and one that exceeds the industry average for similar uses. And so with that, I'd like to open the floor to questions for Jason or myself, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. There you go. Let me, if I can, just start off with a couple things. The 3 studies that you provided, they're based on other Encompass hospital facilities?
Yes, it was 1 study conducted at 3 Encompass locations selected throughout the country.
Perfect.
That's the Encompass internal study. The other group of data was from the Institute of Transportation Engineers, giving those 0.67, 0.43 numbers.
Right. Yeah, I was hoping to see something like that tonight. So I'm glad that you brought that, but I'm also happy to see that it was in other Encompass facilities. Additionally, let me just reiterate for the commission, page 2 of the staff report, 2nd paragraph down under comment. The department is in agreement with the numbers from the ITE manual and the numbers that were provided tonight. I don't think I had anything else for now. Maybe just generalization. So you're gonna start with 40 beds. Your building is going to begin with 40 beds, and then you hope to double the size of the building with another 40, or you're going to be building one big building, only finishing half of it with 40, and then growing into the other half. So which is it?
That's a good question. Jason may be able to speak more precisely to the construction sequence, but my understanding is that there are 2 phases. First is 40 beds, second is up to 80 beds.
That is correct. We will be building it in separate phases. Our typical prototype involves what we call our central chassis, which handles all the administration, physical therapy space, kitchen and mechanicals. And then we have patient wings that come off of that chassis. And the first patient wing will be 40 beds, and then we will subsequently be adding on with additions for, depending on need, we will either go from either a 10-bed addition, 20 or 40-bed addition at one time. We don't want to build too many beds that we can't fill and have empty space. But typically our additions range anywhere from 10 to 20 beds on the first addition with the ability to continue to expand.
So you can't really say that on a 100,000 square foot building, 40 beds is 50,000, the other 40 is 50,000. You're probably in the beginning 40, you got a lot of core things that are needed in both phases that are being done in the first phase besides just beds.
Correct. The first phase, that chassis again is usually around 30,000 square feet. And then the additional patient wings, a 40-bed hospital is typically around 50 to 55,000 square feet. And then once we add on, it will be another 35 to 40,000 square feet, depending on if we have to add additional ancillary space, such as day spaces and additional physical therapy space.
Oh, wait, so there's a potential this may exceed 100,000 square feet?
No, we would not exceed
Oh.
100,000 square feet.
Oh.
That would be extremely, extremely rare for our facilities.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I noticed the master plan capped it at that. Thank you so much. And then for the record, that was Jason Owens Jr. of Encompass Health Corp. Is that correct?
Well, no, the JR is up. That's my first two initials. So it's just Jason Owens.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I'm a junior, so that okay. So it's okay, Jason Owens. Commission members, any other questions at this time? Commission members. We're gonna have another round at them if we need to. Nothing else, anything, commission members? Okay, so let me check to see if there's anyone else wanting to speak in favor of this petition. Is there anyone wanting to speak in favor of this petition? Councilman Rotello, I see your hand.
Good evening on a
Good
beautiful
evening.
Tuesday evening. Paul Rotello for the record, 13 Linden Place, Danbury, also City Council representing the area where this project is undergoing construction and been following it for several years. So just a couple of quick questions. Danbury is becoming a hub for medical providers. As a matter of fact, there's probably going to be a new one on the west side where Pier 1 used to be. And Proton may be happening on the top of, hopefully will be happening on the top of Worcester Heights. And of course, we have the existing ones like the Great Danbury Hospital and the primary care centers on Sandpit and urgent care sprinkled from here to there. So my question for staff is, will this have any effect whatsoever on existing healthcare providers, whether they're urgent care, whether they're inpatient, full-time like the hospital, whether they're physical therapy places, whether they're x-ray places, anything like that? I recently had the misfortune of getting ill in December, and I had to run to an urgent care. And I have to tell you, if there hadn't been a parking space at that door, I don't know what I would have done because it was that hard to get there. So we just want to make sure that everybody that the city serves, and we serve not only our own residents, but people from New York State and the surrounding communities like Reading and whatnot, will not be affected by a shrinkage of parking spaces. I don't quite understand the proposal. I'm guessing it's tied to a rehab facility like Burke, which sounds like what Encompass is doing. But I just, again, want to make sure that this is not going to affect any of our existing healthcare facilities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Rotello, Councilman Rotello, that was the only question you had for staff?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll address that now then. Ms. Eminger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To answer Councilman Rotello's question, we have different parking requirements for medical office. That's not changing. That's one space per 125 square feet of usable floor area. In this case, the urgent cares and the hospital itself is The actual use is hospital, and there is a parking requirement for the hospital. The physical medicine facility itself is a separate use that we do categorize separately. As far as I know, this is the only one we have. I may be wrong on that, but even if we did have another one, that requirement would be a non-conforming. They'd be allowed to continue that parking requirement, and then any additions would have to comply with this new requirement, which would benefit them because it would mean less parking. So to answer the question, it does not affect medical at all. It only affects physical medicine facilities.
Great, thank you. That was very helpful. And so for the record, I support the petition.
Thank you. Commission members, any questions of Councilman Rotello? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? By the way, I write sometimes when I should be not writing and listening. So let me just also reiterate one other point. When they talk about inpatient, outpatient, physical medical facilities, this is, Attorney Lichtenauer, this is a physical rehab. This is, unfortunately, somebody gets in an auto accident, falls down the stairs, hits a tree skiing, needs to learn how to walk again, live their lives. It's that type of a thing. It's not a drug rehab facility or anything like that.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Not hearing any or seeing any opposition, I will ask Attorney Lichtenauer if he has any closing remarks, or Mr. Owens if he has any final comments before we go to staff to see if they have anything on their mind. Attorney Lichtenauer.
Well, I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the Commission for your time this evening, and I would ask that the Commission vote in favor of this petition. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Commission members, anything of Attorney Lichtenauer? Ms. Eminger, final comments from the staff.
Mr. Chairman, no, at this point, I think our comments stand.
Thank you very much. Commission members, any questions? At this point, I would look for a motion to close the public hearing. I don't think we're waiting for anything. Commissioner Botello.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made by Commissioner Botello to close the public hearing. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Nejane. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Not hearing or seeing any opposition. Thank you very much. This public hearing is closed. Commissioner Botello, were you looking to move this to the
Yes, I would. I'll make a motion to, as it's closed, now move it to old business for possible action tonight.
Commission members, there's a motion made by Commissioner Botello to move it to old business for discussion of possible action, which would be number 1 under that category for this evening. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cabrera. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No opposition. This will be number 1 under old business for discussion of possible action. Thank you. We do not have any continuation of any public hearing this evening. Under old business for discussion of possible action, we do have one item. We have the item of Attorney Charles Lichtenauer to amend Section 8C4C and parentheses 11B and add Section 8C4C parentheses 11C to the zoning regulations, amend off-street parking tables to separate required parking calculation for inpatient, outpatient, physical medical facilities. Public hearing was open on May 28, 2024, and it was closed on May 28, 2024. Commission members. Anyone want to put a motion on the floor for discussion purposes? Commissioner Botello.
I'll make a motion that we accept this, and you'll have to go through the jargon that we need to vote for it, but
I'll help you with that. So there's a motion made by Commissioner Botello to approve the petition. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Botello, would you like to make as reasons for your approval that the proposal complies with land use and environmental resources goal of the plan of conservation development, which recommends adopting and implementing low impact policies and practices through changes to the zoning regulations to encourage low impact development? Would you also like to add as a reason that since the existing parking requirement does not account for an inpatient facility, the proposed change would result in a more accurate parking requirement based on the demand generated by such facility and is greater than the industry averages of similar uses?
That's exactly what I wanted to say.
And would you also like to say that it will not
No.
detrimentally impact, that will not negatively impact the health, safety, and welfare of the general public? You good with that too?
Yes, I'm good with everything. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Motion maker will add those as reasons. Will the second to that accept that as reasons?
Yes.
Does anyone want to add any other reasons? What's the discussion? Anybody have any discussion on this? Any discussion? Any discussion?
No,
Commissioner Cabrera, go ahead.
no discussion on my end, but I'm just really glad that such a facility will be opening here in Danbury. A few years ago, my dad suffered a really bad accident and he needed to be in a facility like that, and I'm so glad that we get one here.
Commissioner Cabrera, that is perfect discussion. That's fine. Anybody else? Commissioner O'Neill.
I would like to agree with that. We have a friend who was hang gliding. He goes to Ellenville, New York, and then he lives in Fairfield, Bridgeport area, and it was almost impossible for him to find a facility like this to accommodate him. And this was like within the past year, and he had crashed and needed that kind of care. So I think it's really important that we have that here.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Neill. Anything else? I know the prior zoning commission was thinking the same thing when it first came to us. On a personal note, I have a personal friend of mine that actually walked away from an airplane accident, and he didn't have the need for this facility. But if he did, thank God he didn't, this would have come in handy. Commissioner Needham, any comments? No comment for Commissioner Needham. Anything else?
No, I can give you a comment.
Go ahead.
When I had my issue with my leg, then that was an accident, slipping, checking the oil on my excavator. They had to literally dissect my leg because of the infection, and I needed a facility, and it was extremely hard to find. And we ended up doing a home thing that didn't work out, and then I ended up back in the hospital. So I think this thing is excellent for Danbury.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any other comments? We're going to do a roll call. Yeah. I'm sorry, someone else? No? A yes is yes. A no is no. Commissioner Botello.
Yes.
Commissioner James.
Yes.
Commissioner Cabrera.
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Nazario.
Yes.
Commissioner Needham.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
And I will make it unanimous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-0. Congratulations. Good luck. And again, once again, I'll say welcome to Danbury. Thank you.
And I just had one thing, Mr. Littenauer, thank you for an excellent presentation. Well done.
My pleasure, Mr. Commissioner.
I second that, Commissioner Botello. Very well done. Where are we now? Nothing under new business. Nothing under correspondence. For reference only, we do have 3 petitions. Petition of Robert D. Oliveira, Jones Hill Road. That is scheduled for June 11th, 2024 at 7 o'clock. The second petition, Attorney Neil Marcus for O'Connor Management, LLC. That is also scheduled for the public hearing for June 11th, 2024, start time 7 o'clock. Third petition is Attorney Marcus, agent for Xavier and Alina Gomez. That is scheduled for July 9th, 2024. Are there any other matters? Are there any other matters? Commission members, are there any other matters? Anyone interested in making a motion to adjourn at 7:47 PM?
I'll say that.
Botello,
Chairman,
make a motion to adjourn. Is there a
I would like-
second? Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Botello.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn and call it a night.
Thank you. Second by Commissioner Harrison. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I'll let the record show at 7:47, we have adjourned this meeting. Let me also
Thank
ask,
you, guys.
did I forget anything tonight? We covered everything, right? Heck of a time to ask now, right?
You did a good job, Mr. Chairman. It was.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
Well
Thank-
done.
And thank you
Let
for
me-
filling,
let me
thank you
ask-
for filling in the blanks.
No problem at all. Listen, while you're all here, when you go to the, if anybody's inclined to make a motion to approve or to deny, if the planning commission recommendation is on the same wavelength as you can cheat a little bit and take a couple of their ideas. Additionally, the third idea on that motion tonight was taken from the last paragraph of the staff report, where we're basically obligated to do some certain things when we want to approve things for some certain language regarding the plan of conservation, development, and health, safety, and welfare. So you can cheat a little bit, which is totally legit, on some of the other comments made by other boards, commissions, and staff. Got
So
it?
their comments are in relation to what we would say, and that it
If
works
you
just as
agree-
well.
If you agree with them, for example, your motion tonight covered both of the points on the planning commission recommendation on the reasons for voting positively. And
Right,
the third reason to your motion tonight was from the staff report where the zoning commission must state on the record findings as it relates to health, safety, and welfare.
but I think my question is, does the planning commission and the zoning commission look at the POCD the same way and interpret it?
Oh,
interpret it?
sure. It's always for reference only. There's no requirement that it's Bible. Our
Right,
only
right.
requirement to Bible is basically the Connecticut General Statutes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. So my